Okay, good night, good night, good night. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank with your host, well, not your host, your mentor, your educator, and your therapist for fathers, and curator of the Fatherhood Think Tank, uh, Dr. Ron. We have some of our fathers here tonight. We're going to have a great conversation. Tonight's topic and I heard the remix of the night topic. But tonight's topic is so glad the hole isn't at our end, and it's so fitting for the time frame, what's what's going on in the world and how things are going, this and that. But it also goes in general just a conversation in reference to like sometimes thinking that what affects other people don't affect us. And so we're going to get into that conversation tonight. So I say to you, like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell at the top so you'll know when we'll be coming on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock at the Fatherhood Think Tank. And let's go into the fathers that's in the room to introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start off since my mic is unmuted. I guess in an effort to be transparent as well as get used to talking about it. My name is Ed Tenney, and I am in the process of being a divorced father of 3. And those 3 range in age between 28 to 37.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Like boy, don't stand like boy, you're looking there with your mouth wide open. You remember you're on live TV.
Right, yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna be because Ed is my brother, and so anything that hurts him hurts me. And the fact that he said a divorce of anything like that, it's gonna shock me because I would consider him a mentor to my marriage. You understand? And my wife is a huge fan of the husband that he is. I can't say was because you're in the process of getting a divorce and anything can happen today or tomorrow. But nevertheless, it doesn't take away from the fanfare that my wife and I have for you and every other married man on this platform. And so again, my definitely send the love that you guys have given us back towards you guys to strengthen you guys in this time and this season, whatever it is that God is testing you with at this particular point in your lives. And so I just had to get that out. But my name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a married father to a tribe of 7 young adults, 4 young men and 3 young women, and 2 grandchildren, a grandson and granddaughter. So it's always a pleasure to be here.
Okay, great. We have another brother. See another. That's what I think it is. I don't know. I hope he can talk. I hope he's just not coming on to listen, because this brother I know here got all kinds of knowledge. And, he's an intelligent brother. Are you there, brother Glenn?
Gonna deal with you.
Yes, sir. I'm here, brother Osborne.
Hey, how
Emeritus.
you doing? Introduce yourself, because we know you're a good father with your children and your wife.
Jerome Glimp, married with 2 children, 2 young adults, 20 and 22.
Yeah. I know you got a lot that you can offer this conversation, because you know about sinks, you know about ships, and sometimes they sink and other people think they flying high. So I know that conversation gonna be a good one. All right, so we got our panel for tonight. We'll probably have some more coming through, but before we do that, I want to just do a quick advertisement, and I let Lightborn talk a little bit about this advertisement as I put it on the screen for tonight.
Oh yeah, this is one of the brothers who he was on here last week, and he's usually on here um, uh, Travis Sands, and I think he's going to be doing a session. Uh, he has a One Health One Reason conference. One Health conference. I'm sorry. What is it? One Healthy Reason conference. He's a strong youth advocate. Travis has to be about 10 to 15 years younger than myself. And so he always considered me a mentor to him. And I'm just really proud of him picking up the mantle that he did in Miami's Liberty City community and doing all type of phenomenal things and getting kids from the streets to success, from streets to scholarship. And he's one of many few people that does that, particularly at his age. He picked up the mantle at a really young age so I can just move on to what God had me to do next. So yeah, they're going to be having this event. I think it's going to be the 15th. And it's going to be an all-day conference. So it's particularly for people in Miami-Dade County. And so I'm pretty sure they're going to have different schools and after-school organization, youth organization that's going to be coming out and patronizing this particular event. But I'm pretty sure he's never disappointed. He's very innovative, very creative in what he does. And the fact that he's partnering with a few people like Affirming Youth, which is another organization that I'm familiar with, and Miami-Dade County Public Schools and the college and stuff like that. So it's going to be a strong event. And by then, the 15th, I think Dade schools or Miami-Dade Public Schools are going to be wrapped up their final end of the year testing. And so it should be a good, what they call it, a stress-free type of event for kids to kind of blow off steam after 2 weeks of testing. So real proud of him, Travis Sands, and his appointment. His conference will be on May 15th, which is next week. And that's on the flyer on the screen that you're seeing right now.
Okay, so definitely, if you are in the Miami-Dade area, look like it might be even a little bit of South Broward, Miami-Dade, all the surrounding areas. This looks like a very strong event for fathers and their families, and fathers, even if you can, maybe you might get your kids involved. You see, there's a I don't know if you can put it up against the screen and maybe you can pull it off, or you can go look it up, or even you can find it on the page later, and try to get registered for that. But this looks like it's something strong. These are the kind of community events that we need, especially during times like this when we're going through stuff where people are doing things that we may not be interested in, and it may be taking us down the wrong path. So this is an example that the ship might be sinking, but it's people out here doing things to make sure we keep on afloat. So this is kind of program. And again, this is a Fatherhood Think Tank endorsed event. So please, if you're out there, definitely get involved, check it out, see what's going on with you and your family. All right, we got that out of the way. I'll be bringing that back later. So let's get it. I see Donald here. Donald, you want to just introduce yourself before we get into this conversation, brother?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Coach Warren. My name is Donald Jones, divorced father of 2, but I have a blended family of 7. Currently at work listening in, and just want to chime in and say hello to the fellas, and I'm glad we're back. And I also put some information in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, great. Let me see what that is you put in the chat. Listen. Hey man, don't leave that information. They put that information in here quick. So just another announcement, another quick announcement. If there's any fathers in the Fort Lauderdale or Broward County area, I guess this Allegio Senior Living Facility is hiring. Only issue, brothers, you can't have any felonies, and you have to pass a federal background check. But if that's those 2 things is no problem for you, you're looking for some employment, looking for something to support yourself and maybe your family, Allegio Senior Living Center, look it up, man. You got a phone in your hand. It's ALLEGRO, Senior Living Facility. Look it up and go and check it out, man. And am I assuming that you work over there, Donald? Oh, okay.
Yes, I do, Coach Ryan. I do work there. And I just put also in the chat that if anybody is interested in the Allegro Senior Living Facility, you can apply on Indeed.com. That's Indeed.com.
Okay, so now we talking. Now we're cooking with grease. Now let's get on to the get on. So as I think I'll let Lightborn go first because he had a twist. You know, he did the remix on tonight's topic. Um, and so I definitely want to be able to hear that remix that he's putting on that topic for tonight.
You want the remix version of it.
Yeah.
Which is I'm texting you something right now, Donald. My son is actually in the process of looking for another job, so I'm gonna tell him to apply for this particular one, see if I can find it, and then hopefully he can use you as a reference. Okay?
Yeah, but see, and this listen, I'm telling you, if you watch, listen, this is what this platform is for. Not for us to get up there and jab our job. This is really to be able to bring what fathers need to support their family, and we're gonna come to being able to support fathers because I think, like one said this earlier, our main man Ed is making they're making a family decision to make some changes, and we want to be able to support him. So and I think like this when the positive support them in their decision. I think that sometimes people get up here and try to make things in a negative sense, but I'm a solution-based person, so everything is saying, hey, everything can be admirable. And I found out today that I may be a flagalistic type of man. I never heard of that before, but I believe in peace, harmony, and tranquility, and that I'm lazy. So those things are well and they're together. But I think that I think I agree with some of that because I do believe. Listen, I ain't into all the rah cha cha. People may think it because I'm loud and I am rambunctious, but that's just passion. That's never anger or hate. I'm always about love, peace, and happiness, and having fun. So let's I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm sorry, Lana. I just sometimes I can't let the chance go to remind people that we're not here for the cha cha cha. We're here for the support.
I was like, well, I'm glad you said you're not a flagellistic type of
man. He still may be.
Yeah, right. I am at times, but that's another story from my wife. But I'm glad he said, yeah. I know. I'm like, you sure? You said flatulistic? But I mean, that's just a good laughter. We all need it.
So I am. This is a whole new, I guess, path that I am choosing to go down. It is completely unfamiliar territory, and I think the more I talk about it, the more I'll be able to articulate. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, I guess consider myself an open book. Of course, there's my story, there's her story, and then somewhere in between lies the truth. So I can only give you my side of the story. But yeah, unfamiliar territory is difficult. This journey in my life right now is going to be extremely difficult. But I will tell you what is so apropos about this venue is that my kids are awesome. They got their daddy's back. And I can't tell you how great that feels. I initially was thinking this was something that I may have to tread these wine presses all by myself, but they have come through. My daughter, she hopped on a flight the same day I, made the announcement, and she's on her way here. My son has allowed me to stay in his home. So I guess if anything to add to the overall topic of fatherhood, if you raise your kids with love and respect and admiration for who they are as people, it can come back to you doublefold, trifold when the time comes, and I'm experiencing that blessing from them right now.
Yeah, and and as I, I can sit here and it's so, I guess you say apropos that this is our topic tonight because I think it kind of runs parallel to sometimes how marriage operates. And marriage operates in this way where sometimes some people are on the boat in marriage and everything is, oh, everything is great, it's going just the way I want it, blah blah blah. The other people on the other end are saying, yo, we are sinking. This is and not even saying there's not communication. And I say this clearly because I only know Ed, and me and Ed are only friends to his wife. I met Ed, me and his wife was friends when I first met Ed. Ed is a guy I met, shook hands. We did. Matter of fact, I remember clearly we met each other and was doing work together. Immediately, we met doing work, and I think a lot of times men meet sometimes like that. They meet doing work, like work for women. They're like, doing work. And from that point, he has been like a true gentleman and friend of mine, and so it makes it, kind of sometimes you weigh the options of having the position to be friends with two people, and now it's like, how do you manage that? Very easy for me because I know these two people and they're good together, and they're still good with me apart. And then in the part after that, because I understand sometimes life gives us those type of scenarios where we're here and we're present, and then sometimes we're no longer present. But that doesn't change who people are to who, and I think that's a big part. And so it did, you dropped the other thing, dropped the bomb. But when you told me, I was like, oh man, bam, that's like a bop on the head. I think, and I think it is because I know it's a transition of a new walk in life. Because I mean, it's, as I learned, and I've learned so much about you, this is new to you because that this is not a situation that you ever been in before. And people are like, wait, people watch these shows and they listen, but they don't listen. So they be like, well, wasn't he married before? But they don't know that you were widowed. They don't know that part. They just say, well, he met her before. This is what are y'all making a big deal? What does it even matter? Because that is, and we don't. I think so often for as men, people don't think about how much divorce, our losing partners, mean to us, because it has been minuscule to believe that we ready to get on to the next part and have new partners, every new wife, it's like a cycle for us. But I think that when you have made commitment and made ideas, and I know that I can I definitely can speak to what I know of you as a man, and your word to what you have tried and what you do and what you commit to this is not like taken lightly. It's not something that's like, yeah, oh yeah, this look, what happens. And I think that this is a big a platform to kind of be able to put to people, so men who are out there looking and talking, because when this happens, you are still going to be mandated, you're still going to be obligated to be a father, and you're going to have to find a way now to partner with a mother who is no longer your partner. And so these are the things that you have to really figure out how to do, and they may be brand new. I mean, it's and I know, as you're saying, this will be brand new to you. Like, how do I, where do I, how does this work? How does this play in position? Uh, how is my emotions? Because again, there's this idea that, oh, men don't have no emotions, they don't care about nothing, they don't, fathers don't, they don't care about these things, that's not their concern. When very clearly it is a big part of who we are, because we're still human beings, and we're human beings who are sometimes conditioned, constructed to be not emotional, when really we have very high emotions about things that people don't even know that we have emotions about. So, I think that's a big thing. Like, most people would not, I don't want to make this turn, but I said the word emotions and the father, and there's a incident that's going on right now, really big in I guess social media, in the news world, about a father and what a father did. I just was thinking about his name, and as soon as I start talking about his name, go out my mind. But a father in Cincinnati, Ohio, whose son was killed by the police the night, I guess the day before. He went to the police station to view the videos and all the stuff, and then as he left that location of the police station on his way to, I don't, wherever, he then ran over and killed the sheriff's deputy from the same department. Not the same. Then people, social media always make everything salacious. They saying he killed the exact same officer that no, that's not what happened. People need to study, need to do diligent research, but he did run over another officer. And I thought about, people saying, oh, he killed an officer, look what happened. And it's like the focus now is like, hey, this guy killed this police officer. Almost forgetting of what may have even, no, not what may have, because I'm going to say clearly what sparked and triggered him, because he wasn't thinking about doing that any time before until this incident happened. And this is a kind of emotionality that sometimes people forget that human beings have. It's a response, and people say he's going to serve, he's going to go to jail, and he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. But listen, he's probably already in prison. The day that he went to the coroner and identified his son, that might have been prison for him at that moment. We don't know. We can't. I'm not a big person on making judgment on what people do, don't do, how right and wrong, because I don't know what can happen at any emotional time that people say, that guy was on here. He used to be talking so smooth and always telling people, to be level-headed and be mindful. And I don't know what emotional thing could happen to me that could be a tipping point. That's why I pray. That's why I pray. And I say to myself, positive aspirations, positive thoughts, and always saying that, is this really what Jesus would do? I don't still got the band, but I wish I still had. What would Jesus do? And people, that's cliche, but in many instances, Jesus is represented to me in a lot of our black heroes. What would Martin do? What would Malcolm do? You know, what would Mega do? What, these things are very clear. And to me, you know, even the ancestor that just passed away, just food.
Juwanza Kunjufu.
Yeah, I be butchering people's names. What would he do? And again, here is. I thought about that. We had celebration on Monday in our circle in our school, and I thought about, wow, look at this. This was his books were about the attack on young black boys. So you have to weigh this. And who is that message to? Us as parents, fathers, and mothers. That's something we have to think about and put in play. I'm not advocating one thing or another, but I'm just wanting to really talk when Ed is talking about his emotionality and how these emotions could affect him. I'm using this as something that everybody's knowing and talking about. This is something that can trigger you and tip you over the point to doing something that you would have never been thinking about doing. Because it ain't like he planned and sat somewhere and went, got a Draco, and then went to the officer's house and stood outside and thought about. No, he left from the police station, seen a sheriff deputy doing the traffic, and just rammed him. And so that's that.
Ron, but that's the thing about it. We got to stop expecting men, number one, to act like women. Men are not emotional; we're devotional. And you know the difference between being emotional and devotional? What's the difference between the two? They say men are from Mars or women are from Mars, and women are from Mars, women are from Venus, whatever. But you know the difference between being emotional and devotional? Men are devotional, which is emotions in action. That's the difference. One thing about it, as a man, you should know your narrative. You don't know nothing else. You should know exactly what it is to be a man and be ready to explain it at any moment necessary. So let me explain this to you very clearly, because I don't want them to think this is an isolated incident. I'm like, this is a isolated tragedy or whatever the case may be. I want to see this as particularly the situation you talked about in Cincinnati, Ohio, with the sheriff and that father. I think we pacify the situation, especially when we put racism or any kind of status in there. And when you put racism in there, and we talk about that particular topic and that particular subject, what you're talking about, then we're going to say, oh, it's the white man killing the black man, or the policeman killing the black man, continually. And what we miss, right? Because that's the emotional part about it. The white man killing the black man and the policeman killing the black man. That's the emotional part about it. The devotional part about it becomes the teachable moment. Here's the teachable moment right now. Take out the statuses and the stigmas of via policeman or black man or white man. And you know what you're left with? Here's the reality and the historical reality. When you take away the stigmas or status, right? Or the stereotypes, what you're left with is not the policeman killing the black man or the white man killing the black man or the black man killing the white man. You're left with man dealing with man. That's a historical fact, right? Yeah. And this is what we're really scared of the most, because when you take away the stigmas and you start to say, when you talk about a man dealing with a man, now you start to talk about the devotional aspect of what happened. And the fact of the matter is, when you talk about a man dealing with a man, you're talking about the fact that World War I was built on this kind of tragedy. That's a fact. That's a historical fact. You know
absolutely.
It started because they killed somebody's son. And that man couldn't get past the fact that they killed that man's son and started a whole world war. And so anytime you think about killing somebody's child, you should be ready to go to war. Because guess what? If the shoe was on the other foot, matter of fact, historically the shoe was on the other foot because if a black man dared to kill an average white man. If the average black man dared to kill the average white man, you get Oklahoma, Tulsa. And that's not even a killing. You just killed them economically. And guess what? You firebombed the whole town. So don't ask me to be empathetic towards something that's not empathetic towards me. Everything becomes a teachable moment historically for me. And you should be ready to teach at any moment. Because the difference between being social, what they call it, devotional, is an emotional, is the difference between being empathetic, right, and sympathetic. And I think oftentimes you have one community that's never empathetic towards another, but they always expect you to be, or one community not being empathetic towards the other community's tragedy, but always want that community to always be sympathetic towards their tragedy. And that's not what I'm about. I'm about it. We're going to be just. We got to understand. I'm like, listen, this is not a black man and a white man issue. This is a man-to-man issue, especially when you're talking about dealing with the ramifications and the output of taking some man's child. That man put his whole world into that child, and so you took that man's world away. And what you expect? What you think you can give him, or what you think you can take away from him after you took your child? What is freedom work? What does life work without that man child? That becomes the world's dangerous man, and that's what they're dealing with right
now. So, brother,
go ahead. I just wanted to say that I love the reference of World War I. History is the best teacher we have. I just want to always remind people when we have a conversation, history will let us know a lot of stuff. Go ahead, Ed.
I just wanted to kind of uplift the importance of your job, Brother Ron. I have been experiencing emotions that I have had no experience with. Mm-hmm. And were it not for my therapist to be able to help me understand those emotions, help me deconstruct them, why I was having them, understand why I'm having them. And the most important thing is to not give power to those negative emotions. And it was all because of a therapist and just being able to discuss what I have been going through. And so your job is so important. And I think when someone is faced, like the father in Ohio, he was probably dealing with some emotion that he never, ever thought he would have to deal with. And unfortunately, he didn't take the time to sit back and process those emotions. He just reacted based on those emotions. And I don't know if that's something that as a father that we instill in our children at an early age, to learn how to take a step back, try and process your emotions. And mind you, I'm 64 years old. So to experience these things at this age was so foreign to me. Man, kudos to the therapist that I've been working with, because outside of that, I would have been reactionary, and my life could be completely different. Bless your heart, Brother Ron, because in helping people deal with stuff, because were it not for that, I don't know where I'd be.
And it's funny. You say this, and I think that I think what's so funny is that when we was in Fort Lauderdale and I worked in Fort Lauderdale, we was doing live version of this. There was a lot of fathers that we ended up touching and impacting because they was right. I'm so upset Rohan not here right now, but Rohan, we used to sit and talk about, because Rohan would always bring up is like any kind of incident involving a father, any kind of fatality or any kind of aggressiveness, and say, hey, what was that father going? Like everybody would be saying, oh, look how horrible or whatever. And then me and Ron would eventually have these conversations about why it was so important for us. Let me correct my. See how fast this man will correct me.
Yeah.
You see how fast he would correct me. Rohan say he is here. Don't count him out. But we used to have these conversations exclusively about what emotions that these fathers are facing that they have never really understood and didn't have the emotionality or the self-awareness to understand what was going on. And so they responded with one thing they knew, that was sometimes aggression, sometimes anger, sometimes being lashing out, and then ending up in situations where now they couldn't reverse it. They couldn't get back out of it. And so as you say that, Ed, I'm so glad that you are in that process, so you can decompress from where you were, because we tend to believe that transitions are okay. Oh, you transition. No, listen, if you want proof, let's just look at, we just had a nice month of watching all the NFL players get drafted and get ready to go and change their lives, right? For every one of them that's coming, it's 6 of them that's going. But we're not watching them on TV. We're not seeing how that plays out for them. We're not there to really evaluate that. And so that is something we definitely understand, that are those guys right now going through any kind of process where at one point they had $40 million. And now they're trying to figure out how they're going to maintain a $15 million lifestyle, only getting $200,000 a year.
Yeah, you got to understand. You got to forgive me, Teeny, for what I'm about to say. But I'm gonna tell you like this. Let me be clear. You can't be out here putting crap out there. I always think it's a bunch of crap anyway. Putting popular sayings out there like it's okay not to be okay. That's number one. That's the popular crap that's going on right now. And then when a black man is not okay, we got all kind of rationales of what he should have or could have or would have done.
Right.
So it's okay to not be okay as long as you're not a black man that's not okay. That's number one. Number two, I'm gonna go and quote something from the Prince of Peace, America's Prince of Peace, particularly an African American's Prince of Peace, who said if a man doesn't find something or doesn't discover something he's willing to die for, he's not fit to live. When it becomes a teachable moment for me is, I'm like, you understand that mantra and that particular motto belongs to that man and that man only. He made his choice and we're going to back it. You understand? Stop expecting. You understand? Because when Trayvon's dad said what he said when he came to his son, I had to follow Trayvon's dad lead because it was Trayvon's dad's sacrifice. You understand? They took Trayvon's dad's son. But when this man's son was taken away from him and he was not okay with it, guess what? I'm okay with him not being okay. And what we do is we just try and I'm going to be honest with you, as black men, we're in a very bad habit of pacifying white men. And because what we did was put all the ownership on us, on what we could have done better, you understand, to not take their life, as opposed to what they could have done better to not take our children's lives. Don't ask me to be okay with that. It's no therapy that's going to make me be okay with that. You understand? I have a right to not be all right. And I'm going to exercise that right to the fullest of my capability to make sure that they never take nobody else's son. You understand? So don't tell me all this good behavior y'all been given. You understand? And they're still taking your sons. That may mean you need to try something different, because the psychology says that if you continue to do the same thing and expect a different result, that's insanity. And sometimes I think, and particularly therapeutically and emotionally, we really condition ourselves, right, to not, to go insane just to maintain our status quo right, with our own trauma and tragedy. And so I can't, and I'm putting myself particularly in that man's shoes right now. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, he was wrong. I'm like, no, this is a teachable moment. And so I'm just saying, when it comes to particularly our issues, make every issue a teachable moment, as opposed to saying, oh, it's a therapeutic moment. Nah, it's not a therapeutic moment. It's a teachable moment, and we need to start teaching and stop being scared to teach.
I hear you, sir.
I see that we have some more fathers that came on. We just want to introduce your name and tell how many children you have to the viewing audience, just so they know who's on the call, who's on the platform. And a nice topic we're talking about. So glad that the whole isn't in our end of our end, as saying that as long as it's not, on our end, it's not a problem, and the ship might be sinking. So go ahead and introduce yourself, fathers that just came on, and we're deep into some really fruitful conversation right now. But I don't want you to be left out.
How y'all doing? I'm Tay Warburton, host of the Our Own Opinions podcast. Yeah, I'm just getting in. I definitely want to know what y'all talking about. I came in at the right time. I think I know what was just being talked about, but yeah, another week. So I also I'm a father of 3, 2 boys, 1 girl.
All right, thank you, Ted. There you go, attorney, our personal fatherhood attorney.
Hey. What's up, fellas? What's up? Good evening. Brother Johnny Gaspar, father of 2 young adults. Now 2 college graduates. My son graduated this past Sunday from Tougaloo College in Mississippi with
All
his
right,
Bachelor of
Tougaloo.
Arts in Psychology. Yeah, man. HBCU, born and bred, so we good to go. Now it's on to becoming an EMT for about a year or 2, and then on to medical school. So we're gonna have a doctor, and preferably my daughter would eventually decide she'll go to law school and follow her daddy. I don't know what's her problem. She's making too much money in DC now, but we're gonna leave that alone. I'm looking forward to getting more into what y'all are discussing, man. I didn't get a chance to catch it from the beginning. I know y'all were talking about, I guess, one of these athletes and how their daddy supporting them. So when I hear some more, I was just finishing up a project, so I had to come in a little late. But I'll be on this while I listen to you guys some again.
Okay, all right, Johnny, and I don't see, and I think it's Jerron.
Yes, sir.
Hey, brother, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jerron Dennis. I just joined you guys. Definitely, like I said, I definitely can relate to what you guys are talking about. And definitely, like I said, as a father of 2 boys, one son is serving his country in the army. And my 11-year-old who lives with me, definitely I can relate as as a father. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we have to definitely get counseling, and also take control over our emotions in times as this was definitely difficult. You know what I'm saying? When we always at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? Out here in the world. We're looked upon as animals a lot of the times, and officers are trained to look at us as as animals, and to expect us to act disorderly, in which basically they've been trained that when we act disorderly and don't respect them, or seem like we're disrespecting them, that they have the right to take our life, which which is not not right at all. So that gentleman, he was definitely definitely um upset about how the officer took his son's life, and we all saw the video. We all saw it go down, and the officer, just got got sent home for a couple of days and got paid to murder someone else's child. And the father, you know what I'm saying, the father reacted the way he reacted. He reacted the way he reacted, basically, you know what I'm saying, basically, and then no one can say, hey, he should have done this, he should have done that, because it wasn't their child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, Devon, listen. I'm not one to rubber. I'm not one to rev up controversy or whatever. But there was a strong outpour when this happened, saying that here is somebody finally. You have all these younger people out here spending time killing each other. Say they slide for their homeboy, they slide for their crew, they slide this and that. And here is a father who said he slides for he getting the ops. And it's in the in the context they're saying, oh, did he go and do something to the person who, because some people saying, did he do something to the person who did something to him? No, he didn't. But what he did do is he did what we see done in our community. If the boys from the north side do something to the south side, they come. It don't care. Listen, it don't even gotta be the right person. It could be little John, who an honor student who just lived over there and he walking home from school. They tighten it. They taking the man's life and again, I don't want anybody to get advocating for people's life being taken or anything like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the loss that has occurred because listen, we don't know anything about that officer. That officer is somebody's son. That officer probably have children. So we're not saying, oh yeah. We're just saying, look at what Lightborn said earlier. This ain't really about race and color and this and that. It's about how comfortable as men, as a society, we are with doing these things and forget that they have consequences and repercussions. Because if you listen, the details are what they are, but clearly the father's details of what he's seen from the video that he watched, he didn't feel vindicated. Now, here's my clinical aspect, and Tinny, you understand what I'm going to say. You invite the family to the place to view the video. You should have been calling somebody like me to meet with the family instead of just showing them a video and be like, oh, this is what we got for you. Because I could have talked to the father, talked to them, and maybe not, listen, maybe, I can't prove that the conversation I could have had with the father or the mother for the little time before they left and stormed out would have changed anything, but at least it would have been a preventative action. Something could have been done to just say, listen, I understand. Because I know when they show the video, they justifying themselves. They not in the room saying this is wrong, this shouldn't happen. They're justifying that, hey, this is what happened, and this is why it happened, and it's protocol and policy procedures.
Oh, Ron, again,
yeah.
I'm not trying to master their narrative. I don't give a damn about their narrative. I'm talking about ours. And let me be clear. Like I said, history, right? And history record this. World War I started because they killed some man's son. You understand? And what does that say for me? What it says for me, I'm like, if you're gonna take my child, be willing to go to war. Matter of fact, be willing to go to World War. You understand? Because I don't see my child no different than the man who child they killed when World War I started. And so I think what it's predicated on is how you value your children. There's no therapy can tell me how to value my child. You understand? And there's nothing you can say to me that tell me how. You got to understand how much I value my child so you can value them enough to protect them. To say the narrative is already there about how white people value their children. That's why black people know. That's why you got countless black officers that don't kill white children. Because the narrative is all very crystal clear about that. But they got a narrative to justify how we can take your children as if your children is just as not valuable to you as theirs are for them. And you got a narrative that can make you okay with that. I would really love to hear it. Because if you don't, that's insanity. And I know I'm like, listen, to be nice. I have nothing to lose. That's particularly talking about losing my child. What else I got to lose after that? There's nothing after that. If you want me to be what you want me to be, it would be just as important for you to protect my child than it is for me to protect myself. That's the reality of it. And once you understand that narrative, we'll have a more, what they call, harmonious society. But until that happens, there's no real equality and all that stuff. Like, no, you got a narrative on why you took my child's life and why it's acceptable to take my child's life, but you don't have a narrative why it's acceptable for me to take your children's lives. We have a problem with it. I have too many police officers friends that have impeccable records. I'm pretty sure they came across a lot of disgruntled white people that they should have shot, but they didn't. You understand? And when you put the ratios of black officers killing white children, I mean, you can't even compare the two. And so why we got a narrative that we can entertain and give therapy for? If not, I'm assuming you're on their sides too. You're a culprit. If you have a narrative that can pacify your people to say it's okay to take it for you for only white people to take your children alive, you really have a therapeutical narrative for that? I don't think so. And again, World War I started with this very incident. So don't you forget that. Educate yourself. And then gird yourself with some kind of courage. Because education without courage just makes you educated coward. Not you, Ron, but I'm just talking hypothetically.
No, listen. But I think that, listen, because I probably wouldn't be the right therapist to be there, right? I mean, because I have such a passion about that topic and about what I know happened, right? So it's kind of like difficult. All I could, and I think about what could I even say to the father, right? About the process, and all I could say to him in the idea of to convince him not to crash out is saying that I don't know because I haven't lost a child. First, I don't know. Second, just think about who else will be affected. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about from you and your people. Y'all, if your family has lost it. But again, here we go, and this is why the conversation will be so important. Like, what if he ain't got nobody else? So it don't even matter, right? So the second I'm talking about, think about this, think about that. He ain't got to think about none of that because he ain't got nothing to think about. Just like our young boys out here who crash out every day. They don't care.
But Ron, let's put it like this. And this is what I guess what I'm trying to say, because I'm peeping what you're saying, but this is what gives them excuses for our experiences, right? They have a narrative for when they crash out. Why you ain't got one? What's your narrative when we crash out? Not you, Ron. I'm talking hypothetically to us.
Right, I got you.
And so, what's our narrative when we crash out? You feel what I'm saying? They got a narrative for their crashing out, but we don't have a narrative for our crashing, and that's our problem. Particularly
because I crash out because the crash out has been our narrative to say who we are when that's not true. Because if that was the case, we'd be crashing out every day.
Right. And so we don't, and we haven't, and again, we're so busy trying to live up to what they think we should say. You understand? We never get to what we should say. And so we don't think nothing about ourselves. We're just wondering how they're going to respond to how we feel. Something is fundamentally wrong with that. You understand? I'm like, don't ask me to be all right with my trauma. No. Don't ask me for my trauma to be acceptable. No. Change the thing that creates trauma for me. You understand? Because if you don't change the trauma, guess what? Your people will always need therapy. You need to train. You need to try to give therapy. Guess what? To the culprit. Start treating not the victim, because we treat the victims, but never the villains. And so guess what? The villains say, you know what? They're changed by some kind of divine intervention. They get no treatment for their change, but we get all the treatment for our trauma. And nobody has a narrative for that. We're always, just behave right and good will happen. Do good and good will happen. How's that working out for you?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you saying everything that I try to tell people is like, that I'm gonna say that side of they, and that's why I'm glad we do this group too, because we I always teach our people, you know, the people that I try to mentor and to mentor, and the people that I talk to is like, one thing is black people. Everybody know I'm very pro black, is that we have to stick together, and I think the reason why they're able to um control the narrative, because that's basically what you're saying, Mr. Lightborn, is that they're able to control the narrative. Like when they do something, it's justified, but when we do something, it's not justified. And when they do something to us, they always try to depict where, oh well, we did this, but look at what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something I try to teach our people is that one, we got to come together, and like two, to the black, all the black people, you know, you have them out there on social media, whereas like they have, you know, taken the other side already to the point where they actually agree, like, oh, you know, well, y'all killing, you know, they like to mention Chicago, they like to mention gangs, they like to mention LA, they like to mention Miami, New York, where the case may be. But this is something that I always tell people, and I don't like to talk pro black when it's being recorded, because they always looking. Anywhere you go, any country you go to, any country, right? No matter where it's at, where the poverty levels are low, there's violence. Where the poverty levels are high, sorry, the poverty levels are high, there is violence. No matter where you go. And one thing we gotta remember with the white people here is that they left the British because they didn't like, it was criminals that came over here. If people want, you know, knowing the history, like you said with World War One or Two, it was criminals that came over here because they did not like what was going on in British in the UK. They came over here, and people forget that yes, we Black Americans, but it was already Native Americans over here. They killed how many millions? So that shows that they are capable of doing what they're doing. But of course, they try to change the narrative. No matter where you go, where the poverty level is high, and this is something that they did to us after slavery, is put us in and put us in private poor environments. When we tried to build Wall Streets, didn't the KKK and the military come destroy it? Yes, our community is hurting. We have y'all are a little older than me, so y'all know plenty of a black markets that they built, and all of them all on Wall Streets that they built, and all of them was destroyed. So we have tried to do better. Every time we do it, y'all come destroy it. Y'all come kill. Y'all kill all our leaders because we're not together. We must come together because they coming together. They don't like each other, and people understand that Jewish people don't like white people. The country bunkins in the country. If y'all ever been to the country, they hate blue collar white people that wear their ties and stuff. They hate them. But one thing they do, they always come together and make sure that the black man um does not build. But they placed us in these type of um environments and say that we're animals. Like we know we're killers, but they the real animals. You go to London, you go to the UK, you go to see what poverty levels are very high. It's violence. It's everywhere you go. In Russia, Russia, Italy, China, everywhere you go where the poverty levels, they have their own crime, they have their own killings, they have their own gangs, they have their own politics that kill. But when we do it in America, like how you say, Mr. Lightborn, it's a problem. But that's because they're allowed to control the narrative. Then you got the ignorant black people that sit there and that take their side, which is something I don't like. Which I only talk about this type of stuff when I'm not being kind of like recorded, being in the class like this, because like you said, how you're emotional, exactly what it do to me. It gets on my nerves, and I don't blame the guy doing what he did. I actually I don't. Now I know what y'all talking about. Now I don't blame that father.
Yeah,
Because truth
well,
be told, I would have did the same thing.
I tell you, say some really important things, and I think that you even really bring up the most important part. And I thought about this when I seen the video of him being arraigned, right? The father being arraigned. Um, that the courthouse was full of deputy sheriffs, right? And I thought to myself, is why did they bring the whole police force to be at his arraignment? And I thought about the endless times that there have been police killings of innocent, mainly black people. And listen, and police killing the innocent white people, Asian people, all kinds of people. The people who would want to come and support like that couldn't even get in the courthouse. They couldn't even come. They couldn't even come in the courthouse. And this courthouse was full to the brim with nothing but deputies in there. And I said, this is what you're talking about is standing together. On one, the blue code is there. They even if some of them don't agree. That one of them sisters was in. I don't know if the sister was in there crying because she had to stand in there and think about the officer, or she had to stand in there and think about how tragic this is that she got to stand there with officers of a dead officer because this officer killed this man, his son, who was a child. You know, that's a difficult, you know, that's an awkward position to be in. Like you got, you know, you could rebel and say, many people say, forget that, I'm out of here. I ain't doing this no more, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that sounds good too. I mean, but it also, sometimes it works to have people on the inside of some things. Sometimes.
Right.
You know, I know that we don't like that. I know somebody who'll be shooting the little guns at me right now for saying that because you're supposed to be on the completely outside. But sometimes you gotta have some people with their mind on the inside, so you get the right information on how to attack.
You know, I was thinking about, and this speaks back to Teeny, because I never want to get off the topic of his what he's going through right now, and right now he's more of a concern to me right now than than the other topic that we're talking about. But I think where I bridge the gap between both concerns is the fact that I was on Twitter. I like to debate, different things, and I like to debate with intelligent white people. And so I was on. You could tell a white guy, he was very intelligent. So we was a respectful debate. And so I guess what it came down to, we was talking about, which is back to your point, Tate, about different issues. Okay, if this issue is that issue. So what we were doing was using a negative to justify another negative, right? And if you try to use a negative to justify another negative, that's no justice at all.
Right.
And so what you're trying to do is legalize injustice. And so it came down, and I think it was an epiphany that came down for me, because he was a little older, but he was reasonable. And I finally had to ask him a question. I said, you know what? When have white people ever loved black people? And that's when the conversation halted. And he could never find an answer for it. And I respect him, because he didn't try to give a tit for tat. He had to give a legitimate silence. And I'm like, history has recorded black people and has proven how black people has loved white people, right? As a matter of fact, we couldn't be coexisting if it didn't happen, right? Peaceful movement, stuff like that. I mean, we fought with peace, and you can't fight with peace if you don't have any love. So that's a historical fact, right? And so I said, we fought you with peace. We gave you everything that love mandated and required us to give you to coexist with you. I said, when have you ever loved us? The man couldn't find out one time. And so that's what it comes down to. I think when it comes to love, we need to start putting a demand on the love that we give. And too often we give it cheap, right? And so at the end of the day, since we be the ones giving the love, but we be the only ones in therapy while they move on with their lives. And which brings the gap back to Teeny's point, because there's a difference between fun and fundamental. That's what makes marriage. Fun and fundamentals. And people sometimes will go astray. Not saying that's what happened in your situation, but I understand, being a human being, that you can be tempted by thinking you're missing out on fun, right? And taking for granted the fundamentals that you actually have that keeps you stable and sane and makes you the woman or man that you may be. And so oftentimes we find ourselves asking this question, why do good girls like bad boys, right? Because fun is supposed to be attractive. That's the society, that's the worldly thing. Fun is attractive. You understand? But fundamentals. You understand? It's what keeps you grounded. And I think oftentimes once we have a moment of temptation of thinking, oh, this I could choose the fun over the fundamentals, you'll be surprised how the temptation will make you sacrifice something that's fundamental for the fun that's over there, or what we used to call the grass may be green on the other side. And oftentimes you see a lot of relationships out here right now. I think Tyrese was one of them. You know, again, I believe he was all in with his kid's mother and wife at that particular time. Her regret was allowing her friends to convince her of the fun she could have, or she may be missing out on the fundamentals of what she did have, and that's when they got divorced and stuff like that. And so we got to be very mindful of being tempted by fun and abandoning the fundamentals of who we are and what we have. Come on through.
Oh yeah, but to capitalize on that, but I think we just gotta we have to find a way, to come together as people, you know, and and like my boys they make jokes about me, right? Because I things that I do say about the other race, but it's true. Like when have they when have they ever loved us? And then the sad part to say about what you're saying is this: as much as they never loved us, they're our only ally, because they're the only other culture that will at least do for us. You know what I'm saying? At least maybe we have a better relationship with Africans. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we have a pipeline to there, but they're the only race that would at least do things for us, and that's sad to say because we know they don't love us. You know, so
Tell you.
I don't know, ma.
Tell you.
Yeah, I know somebody called. Yeah, somebody had called me.
You are saying some profound thing. That statement that you just made, right, is one that I heard a lot of Black revolutionaries talk and discuss when people are saying, "Hey, we have Pan-Africanists, right? Pan-Africa, and Pan-Africa will do things and be able to work together." And it's funny you saying that, because I think that also that comment becomes because we gave them so much of who we are. That's why they're so entwined with it. Like we look, the reality of understanding the history of the development of America, you can't develop America without the Black Negro, right? There's no development of this country. So yes, as much as they have never, and that is the reason why they would never give us anything, because we have been here from the beginning, giving to them, even if it wasn't willingly, forcefully giving to them our whole existence in the country, right? Our whole existence. And I know you'll get some of the people saying, well, Black people's already here, the Indians were. I got you. I hear what they're saying. I got them. I got them. But you know what I'm talking about, Tay. I'm saying that don't disregard the fact of the matter that even if you was already here, when they initiated the discrimination, the slave codes, and that you could be a free man walking around in your neighborhood, when you've been in America before they came here, they could still snatch you up, put you in chains, and take you to Alabama and put you on a plantation. So there is this connectiveness that we have with our oppressor. But one of the issues that I always say is we sometimes play their oppression as empower, that they have power against us. No, it's just like a leech, right? A leech can only survive by the host. That's it. That's how I view it. The leech cannot survive if they don't have a host. The host flip them off. If they don't find another host, they whistle away. And I know that's radical. I know.
No, it's not. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you. And again, Teeny, of course, you're gonna be heavy on my mind because you're my brother, and I love you. So every comment I make, especially the good ones, I dedicate them to you. But what I realized, like I'm talking about really good friends, like my good friends. You may even call them my best friends. They have one narrative about me. One, literally, all these different people, got to be like about 7, 8 of them. 7, 8 different people got one narrative about me when they met me, when they first met me, and be it high school or whatever the case may be. And you know what that one narrative is? Take a wild guess. We didn't like you. Literally, across the board. I mean, they tell my wife these stories like, man, I didn't like that when I first met him. And you know what I had to grow into? I'm like, you know what? Because I didn't need you to like me. I needed you to love me. You understand? Just don't need to give my honest self, right, to someone who can only accomplish liking me. But if you're going to give your honest self, I'm telling you, your total self to somebody, give it to somebody who's going to love you. And so I didn't give them the like introduction. They always got the love introduction because I'm like, you know what? When we finish, you're going to meet me. And when we finish talking, you may not like me, but you're going to love me later because I don't want you to like me. I need you to love me. You understand? That's important to me. And so when people talk about other people, I'm like, I'm not concerned about who don't like me. That's not my accomplishment. It was never my goal. My goal is for you to love me because I have every intention on loving you. And that's where unity starts. I keep on telling you, we don't have to get along to get ahead. You know who taught me that? The streets. The streets taught me that. Gangsters taught me that. We don't have to get along to get ahead. You think the mafia got along? No. But they got, guess what? They got ahead, didn't they? Here it is, they organized so much so the government had to create organized task force. You understand? Because they understood the organization of not having to get along to get ahead. And once we master that, we'll be a phenomenal force. Matter of fact, we'll be exactly what God said, because he was even impressed with that. When you talk about unity, Tate, this is in the Bible too, which is black people. These were actually black people. God said, man, if these people are so unified, when they set their mind to do this thing, there's nothing that can stop them. You understand? That's the people who were building the tower. Coincidentally, historically, those are, and genealogically, those were black people. And so he's saying he was so impressed by the fact that they could be unified enough to build a tower. But the only part about building that tower is they were building the tower against him. You see the difference? So here it is. God ain't even a hater. God said, man, I love y'all unity, but it's against me. So I'm going to have to knock your tower down and separate y'all or what the case may be. And so it's a lot of teachable moments. And I think we just got to always equip ourselves with those teachable moments to know what our narrative is so we can become great teachers of who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got, what time is it? Just two more things to say. One thing is, I'm going to go back to the, so we had, like you said, the Pan-Africans or the black leaders. I honestly do not like, which is probably, for the most part, it's true, because Christopher Columbus probably wasn't the only one traveling around in a boat. But I'm pretty sure it probably was a couple of us here, meaning Black Americans in America. But I hate that when our Pan-Africans or our black leaders or black supremacists or whoever you want to call them, I really hate when they say that. Like, oh, we was already over here, because you're dismissing a whole freaking race. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the same thing they do to Africa, where they don't understand that Africa is not a country; it's a continent with over maybe over 1,000 to 2,000 different languages. That's the same thing that was here in what they call America now, was the Native Americans, the Indians, where it was a country, a continent, whatever you want to call, with probably over 1,000 to 2,000 different. When our people who want to be who say they are leaders, say that, oh, we were here first, because we're dismissing a whole culture, a whole race that 99% of them was wiped out. You know what I mean? And I really hate that. And that's why I say like I said, I believe some Africans probably came over here, and then the same thing with our Caribbean islands. They don't understand that whole culture was killed out by this, and people British is bad, but Spain is right behind them. Like I told um a Jamaican one day. I was like, do you know that your island was first of all, you know that all y'all is from Africa. Y'all was I think it's called the Tanios. I forgot their name. Start with a T. I forgot how to pronounce it. Y'all was on those islands at first. They described y'all as tall and built, kind of like how Samoans are. You know what I'm saying? How the Rock and them are. They killed all y'all off those islands and brought Africans over there. You know what I'm saying? I was like, do you know that you're
Iraqs and the Caribs?
Okay, there you go. And I was like, do you know that you're do you know that oh crap, you made me lose my thinking. But oh yeah, I was like, do you know that your island was controlled by Spain first, and then the British bought it from Spain. You know what I'm saying? I said, why y'all think y'all have so much Spanish names, on your island? But whatever the case may be, but I really hate when people say that, because you're just missing a whole race. You know what I'm saying? A whole race that they did. And the second thing is, back to what Mr. Lightborn said, is that's another thing. I don't like when the black people that kids that start kissing the white man that I don't know if I could cuss, but start kissing the white man ass. I don't like when they go to colleges, and it really irks me. And I be wishing I'd just be there. I can just transport there. And I hate when they like the officers. I think his name Tatum and the Hose twins. Those are just the two I know. Yes, I'm name dropping. Those are two I know. Oh, and what's other cousin's name? Myron. His name Myron. Why are y'all 40-year-old, 50-year-old men with all this knowledge going to go talk to black college kids about what's going on in America? No. Talk to people like Dr. Ron. Talk to people like me. Talk to people like Mr. Lightborn. But y'all go to colleges to talk to still immature, how can I put it? Kids basically that don't know all the information. Then y'all record it and then y'all post it. But y'all don't go actually talk to people, even Dr. Umar Johnson. Y'all avoid talking to those type of people, but y'all go talk to these little college kids. And I really hate that.
Yeah, well,
that's all I gotta say.
They will do that, and I'll just tell you, they do that because they can win the argument, because they know that the young college students are impressionable. They are most of the time developing who they are becoming, and that they're not set in any real belief system unless they came there already, well developed. But the problem about the college environment is it a place where, and many fathers and parents will find this out, that you will take your kid to the college and you have them in certain values and morals and what have you, and they go there and they learn all kinds of stuff and come back and school you on new stuff, but it's not a set. Whereas you're talking about exactly what you're talking about, and I agree with that, what you're saying, that they go and they placate on those young people. They use the young people as to say, see, here's some intelligent college people who don't know as much as I do, but they won't go. They're not asking the professors that. See, you're impressed me. You go ask one of the professors at the college them questions. It'll be different. So I got what you're saying. Let me get this advertisement here. Then I'm gonna come back. Let me get our advertisement in for the night with our sponsor of JAG, JAG, Attorney at Law, Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. He is a Johnny Gaspar Esquire. If you're looking for a lawyer, working all types of lawyer cases, he's not just a ambulance chaser. He does all. He does it all. Johnny Gaspar at jag1law.com. Phone number 305. You know that's in the 305. See, you don't even have to say when you from the crib. You don't have to say where you from. You just say we from the 305. If everybody don't, crib is just the 305. I know because I got a 305 phone number. So I got 305 phone number. I ain't giving that number up ever. But it's number 305-827-8087. And that's our sponsor for Fatherhood Think Tank. Our key sponsor of the Fatherhood Think Tank, JAG, attorney at law. And also, I want to also give another plug to the brother who's having his One Health Reason Conference, Stronger Together. These are the kind of conferences we need to really be sending our families and our communities to. The power of the community engagement. It is May 15th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Brother Sam is having his session time is at, and this is what I'm talking about. Brother Sam is advertising this the whole conference, but his session time is only at 10 a.m. So he got one session that he will be providing, but it's tons of information. Look like some of the sponsors, Miami-Dade College, Around Youth. Look, that looks like the Department of Education. It look like the Department of Education. Look like one of the look like when I see a picture of a person with a suit on, that's some kind of district representative or somebody. I can't see who it is.
No, that's him. That's him with the suit on. Let's see.
No, not him. Down at the bottom, I'm looking at the sponsors.
Oh, okay.
The sponsors is, and I see a lady with a fancy look like she sending around a little Delta thing, but that could be the congressman or senator.
That's the commissioner, Christine.
Oh, that's the commissioner. Okay, there you go. I know I ain't wrong. When you see a picture, because
I see it now. But
all public officials always gonna put a picture so you can see what they look like.
And then you see the thing, the sponsor say related.
Yeah, what is that?
That's actually the developer that's redeveloping all. The matter of fact, that's the developer that's redeveloping Miami's notorious poke and bean projects.
Oh wow!
Where would this event be held at?
Huh?
Where would this event be held at?
I think it's going to be held at Miami-Dade College, but you got to use the QR code to get more information. They'll tell you exactly where it's at.
If you want more information, you can hit the number here. The number is 305 230 4598.
230 4598.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because I'm trying to scan it. I'm trying to scan it, but it's not. It's not.
It's not scanning.
I'm trying to scan the barcode, but it's not letting me pull it up.
It's not scanning.
Nope.
It may be too blurry.
It might be too low. But let me just do this
blurry.
real quick.
It might be too low. But let me just do this real quick.
Yeah, I sent my I put it in the chat my email address. If you can forward to my email address.
Okay, I got more information. What information?
Okay, I got more information. What information y'all want to know?
Where's it being held at?
So it's One Health Reason Conference.
Say that again.
It's going to be.
It's going to be.
Oh man, look at this. So bad.
So bad.
So it's already sold.
It's already sold.
It looks like it's sold
It
out.
looks like it's sold out.
Or maybe registered out. When you go on one of the things, so I would suggest you just go onto the phone number and call them and find out what you can do.
Yeah, I'm trying to see the number because it. What's that number again? 305.
230.
230.
230. 45 98.
Okay, I'll give them a call and maybe maybe they still might have some spots available. Cause you said it's at Miami-Dade College.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
because it's cold, they're not letting you
they're
go
not letting you
inside
go
there.
inside there.
All right, I'll give them a call tomorrow and see, see where it's being held at and if they still have registration. Because like I said, I can't I can't use the QR code because it's not allowing me to to scan it.
Yeah. That's good. All right. All right. So those are our sponsors for tonight. Again, this I can't say enough that I want to be able to say to my brother, brother ET 10E, like E40, 10E. My brother is we are with you. We are here as you maneuver through the transition change of life. And we look forward to continue being here and supporting you, and you continue being here, being a strong model and influence for other fathers who are out in the community who can build from not just yours but from all of our experiences. I think we all have experiences that hopefully when people are watching, we give them the ability to be able to say, if this brother can deal and this brother can make it, I can do too. And I think that's all we really need to sometimes show a model, because we know that works in the other way. That's the one thing I know that works in the other way, where a person does something bad and people be like, I can do that too. So when we do something good, when we highlight it, people will be like, oh, I can do that too. That's why I'm here today, because I see somebody do something good and I say I could do that too. I could have just went with my homeboy.
I wanted to shout out Teeny too. That the fact that he was just wise enough and humble enough to ask for help is really the way you can start doing things. And that's the most heroic thing for me, is to be wise enough and humble enough to ask for help. And he reached out for it in time of need. And that's, it's priceless. And of course, you can't do nothing but recover and achieve wholeness when you continue to be like that. So, my heart's out to you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's been my biggest, I would even dare to say, continuing lesson. This whole experience has been extremely humbling, and I'm not exactly sure what else to say, but I'll just give props to my kids. I am so honored. I just can't tell you how honored I am for them to want to be in my corner, to even allow me to have crocodile tears around them. It's oh man, it's been such a support from them. So they are God honoring, and they are honoring their dad right now during this time.
And with that being said, fathers, repeat after me. I am a man of honor.
I am
a man of honor.
I am a man of
honor.
I am a man of courage.
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Fathers, I say that I am.
I am.
I say I am.
I am.
I say you are.
You are.
I say you are.
You are.
I say we are.
We are.
I say we are.
We are.
Championship. I just did a little remix tonight so we can make sure we I did a remix tonight so we can make sure we be on there. we gonna get I want to make sure we get the words back. So I give you the words, and then we'll come back to the chant part. We gotta get that back and playing. With that being said, folks, thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. Join us here next week for Fatherhood Think Tank. Thanks all the fathers that joined us. 10E, Lightborn, and myself, Dr. Ron, and all the other fathers that have gone off now. We'd like to really thank you for coming on. If you rewatching this, spend time, share it with somebody who might could really use what's going on, what's being said. And we'll see you all here back next week at the Fatherhood Think Tank. Good night.